Hey guys, it's Steven here, and I managed to go 8-0 at a case tourney with Voiceless Voice, so different than my normal ryzeal. I don't think this deck is insane or anything, but it is a solid tier 2 that I think people get credit for. It is one of the rogue decks you should play if you really don't want to play ryzeal or Malice. It's just a hand trap deck, and I think that overall the engine trades pretty well into the cards of the format. It's completely immune to Slayer, Meltronos, and all that nonsense. The end board is really good right now because Stratus just trades super well into people's engines because they don't actually have ways of clearing it in the main deck without going into the extra deck. And you have the ability of handling the hand traps with chummies, and while chummies don't hurt you as much. So getting the profile. This list is similar to the Wizards which he's been playing, which means you're playing a little less engine, a little bit more hand traps. So 3 low, 3 divine match. These are your 1-card stars. You're going to max out on these, and then 2 Saphira, 2 prep. So while these cards are good to draw, and you want to see some starter, drawing multiples doesn't really do anything, especially because I'm expecting more Ash as opposed to just like Imperm Veilers. While those are still somewhat popular, it's Ash the real one that hurts if you don't open away the low directly. So you don't need to max out on these. I think the 4 was fine. I think when I was initially looking at his list, where you're playing less engine, it seemed weird because this is a 2-card combo deck, but you gain percentage points because like people are just on pseudo breakers like half breakers like books and whatnot, which just trade absolutely horribly into this deck, and so you don't need as many good engine hands because you're not getting hand trapped to death as much, as well as the fact that like the chummies are just sway your way as well because the chummies are dead or very poor, and since they're poorly out, well, you got to use them fully. And the other engine cards, so double guardian, the one straight is only one because like I said, you wanted to minimize the bricks while you're playing hand traps. This card is like insane right now. So the problem with last year and why this deck was, I think, nothing spectacular. I mean, it's still nothing spectacular right now, but before you had problems with the end board because if you summon this, you still have to use Omnis early because they go like normal Snake Eye Ash, and then they can get the Flamberge swing over this, and that means you're weak to Talons. Or if they have like summon one of the Ubel guys, like you want to hit stuff early because otherwise they're just gonna double Phantom and invalidate this. But right now, ryzeal Mouse, all they do is summon bodies. They provide absolutely zero threat without going the extra deck. And so when you start looping this, where you're something like 2-3 times per turn, it just FTKs them. So the end board, which was like kind of an issue before, is not an issue anymore. Like it feels like if I full combo, I'm winning the game. Even sometimes against breaker decks, because like stuff like Slayers and whatnot does trade. And the engine cards, one Stratus. It's considering cutting this because I'm trying to like minimize bricks, but I think this is too important to D-barrier, which people are citing. It's also just good to maximize your board. Like there are times where you get the trap off low instead of barrier, then you're summoning this as additional interruption on their turn to get to Stravis, because that's better than a pop, because like I said, all these decks print bodies, so having just like a pop 1 doesn't do anything, but having this thing is just so much better. And like, yes, it's kind of bad to draw, but I think it's warranted considering how good it is to help with the end board and how much it comes up there. The mandatory cards, so 2 prayers, 3 barrier, 1 blessing, then 1 trap. If you have access to just one of these, a lot of times you'll go trap if you have one of these in rotation, because it means you get to use it on your turn and their turn, as opposed to just barrier. The other thing is a lot of people, when they lead X sending aggregate to negate this, you can just cheat out this, which is the main thing. If you didn't have this in the deck, it means that when they go aggregate this, you just have to pop it, and you're just trading for 1 buy, which doesn't feel great. But now it eats the aggregate, and you're still getting the value off it, which is super good. The other thing to keep in mind with this deck is like one of the problems with a lot of the other weaker engine decks is that they struggle into Detonator. But a lot of 2-card combos feel really good. Like low plus Saphira feels really good into it. Like you can actually just push through the Detonator pops, especially or once you set up already, you have low Guardian Barrier. Like they can summon Detonator, and a lot of times rogue decks are struggling against that because it's just so much pressure to try it out. But with this deck, it doesn't have the issues. Like they can't force anything, and you have the Guardian just hitting over the Detonator. And then the MVP of the deck is the Unidir, the 1 Maximus. Yes, this is a 1-card starter, but it gets you 2 draws and switches ritual spell, so it's good enough. It also just lets you deal with a lot of annoying cards. Like Strike's super popular because people, first time ever, actually listen to my deck building. And so you can just go Nadir, send Mal or Entis, out the Detonator, out the Strike immediately. And then you're also just getting a super large amount of value off this. When you're in hand trap wars and they have the cards that don't trade the best, resolving this as like your last push instead of the game a lot of the times. Also means you don't have to side back removal because you have enough back removal to begin with. Hand traps, 3 Ash, 3 Nib, 3 Ogre, 3 Imperm, 3 Purge, and then 1 Veiler. So I was not playing the Veiler. I think Veiler's kind of mid right now because there are a lot of people on books, and this plays in talents. Like this plays in everything. But I side this out of the game. I just need 1 more card for a sign pattern. So I put the Veiler in the 16th card. The rest of these I think are really good. Ogre should come back in the format. I think it is pretty good versus Malice, especially paired like Nib. It forces their 1-card combos to play into Nib, which means you can get a lot of value off of it. And also stops the duo. And then I'm not playing any chummies because while your end board is good enough to FTK them if you full combo, you don't always get to the full combo. You do want some insulation. So that's the main deck, 42 cards. Extra deck, which you don't go into too much, but you have All Mirage, Secure Garner for the Maximus line when you hard draw it. 1 Anima, because that's what you use with load, clear tokens, or to just climb the SP better. The 1 SP, Double Dynamundo, 1 Lina. This card's actually overperforming. One cool thing you can do with this is if you nib them and you summon Guardian, you go Guardian Search. If they have a wave interrupting it, you can go to Lina. You haven't normal summon yet, so you just crash the Lina into the Nimid token and then get Diviner and full combo that way. And then obviously just the normal applications of taking cards. 1 Goddess, just in case you need it. 1 Chaos Angel, Typhon, these are all standard. And then just the Maximus package. Not too much to say here. There's argument I want Double Herald that came up once. There's argument to cut probably the Goddess for it, but there was a Melodious player there, so I had to respect that deck. Like I said, it is a relatively local tournament, so I was able to specify my deck a little bit more. But yeah, probably swap the other Herald or the Entis in for the Goddess. And then side deck. So this is the unfortunate part of the deck is you do need to play chummies in this deck. And I'm saying this in the sense of like you're playing a road deck, so you still have to shell out some money. The big thing with these is that obviously they're super good. I don't like this in general, doing this in other decks, because it feels like if you draw too many chummies, decks are prone to, like, they just have Strike, Imperm, Ash, and they feel comfortable passing. And then you just have drawn no cards off the chummies, and you just get punished because they all have all these tech cards. You're net neg 1, neg 2 if you use 2 of them, and then you can't actually play the value game because you're so far behind. But in this deck, it's kind of scary because a lot of your 2-card combos beat like 2-3 tech cards. Like if they had double Imperm, you open Saphira low, you're playing through that. If you open Nadir, it's trading with a Strike. And so even with cards that they can normally feel safe with drawing, where they can just go and minimize board, I feel like against this deck, because you're scared of how obnoxious the good hands are in tech cards, people play into these more, and then naturally you are going to get more draws. These go in versus Malice, these go in versus any ryzeal versions. Even though I think Pro is kind of mid versus the Fiendsmith version, you're still pulling it in because you just want to draw cards. The cards that are coming out are always the Diviners, the Trice, and then the Veiler, and then Stravis if you don't think they're going to have Deep Bury and you don't want the extra ceiling, or you can take out one of the other hand traps to get the math up. And then the other cards, Freelancia for Malice, naturally. And then you want to go first card, but the main way this deck loses isn't by getting hand trapped and like needing to draw anything. It's just like you don't have enough good engine. So we just decided to play more engine. I'd rather have the hand traps in the main because 16 is kind of standard now for how much you want to play. But I'm just signing these 3 for extra go first cards so that when you go first, you have more ways of actually pushing. Like I said, this deck is, I think, solid tier 2, and it was nice to kind of pull it out for a little bit, take a break from ryzeal, and still have success with it. Thanks.